Hello there, Ray here, and the Snapshot 18W21A is out. With it comes a bunch of bug fixes, and some minor changes that you could almost see as new content. Now with this snapshot, they mostly concentrated on fixing bugs that they have created during the snapshots, not bugs that were created prior to this snapshot. This also means that they're getting fairly close to giving out the pre-release for 1.13, and after that should come the actual release for 1.13, so we have a lot to look forward to. They removed it so dolphins will no longer wear armor, something I showed in a previous video, which is pretty funny. I kind of figured that they would eventually remove this, but if we just throw some armor here, you see the dolphin will play with it, but he won't actually wear it on himself. If we look at the tags that the dolphin has, we can see it still has can pick up loot 1B. That means it can hold loot in its mouth and stuff like that. You can see here where its items are. It doesn't have any armor items, as well as its chance of dropping stuff, which is right here. So it does have a chance of dropping armor if it was wearing it. But you can see there is some more new tags that we are going to talk about today, such as the treasure position. So there's a Z as well as a Y and the X of where the nearest treasure is that the dolphin's going to search for. And then there's also a tag can find treasure 1B. This dolphin can find treasure. We'll try that out. And there's also got fish tag. You see dolphins act really strange when they get on land. They're trying to get back to water and they just keep bouncing around. It's well similar to like a fish. Let's do F3 plus B and look at his hitbox. Just keeps bouncing. I don't know if he's really pathfinding towards the water. It also seems that maybe they changed it so that they can stay in the air longer. So let's look at his air. So here it says his air is 3,352. Seems quite a bit higher than what it used to be. So maybe they can stay on land much longer. Because in real life, it looks like dolphins can stay alive for about 10 hours on land. But they can only stay underneath water for about like 8 minutes. So it makes sense that they could stay on land much longer than what they could underneath the water. Let's see if this dolphin here can help us find treasure. So it looks like he can find treasure because he has can find treasure 1B. What you do is just go up to the dolphin and feed him a bunch of fish. And then he should lead you to where he thinks the treasure is. Kind of does this zigzagging thing off in this direction. Oh, now he looks like he's trying to play with me. Come on, dolphin, help me find the treasure. This is over here somewhere. So let's see how accurate the dolphin was compared to what he says with his tag. So here he says the treasure is at 46, negative 225, and we're currently at about 49, 235. Okay, it looks like the dolphin was trying to get us towards this underwater ruin here, which is kind of hidden. He wasn't too far off. He was kind of circling around this area, as you guys seen. If we go in here and we look around, should be able to find the chest. There it is. And that's pretty much what the dolphin does. It looks for these chests that are either in ruins or that are in like ships so that you can go in there and hopefully find some treasure. Now, not all dolphins can find treasure. If there's no treasure nearby, the dolphins won't be able to find it. So if you just check this guy's tag here, you can see that it shows 000 for this tag. If you look down here where it says can find treasure, right here, it says 0B. So this guy's not able to find anything. So let's see what happens if you would feed this guy some food. So I'm feeding him food, but he's not doing anything. So it don't really seem like these dolphins are too useful in helping you find treasure. Pretty much if you can see the treasure, the dolphins can see the treasure. If you just look around and see some yourself, you could probably just avoid having to go to the dolphin trying to get him to tell you where the treasure's at. They seem to have made it so that if there's no players nearby, the dolphins really don't move around that much. Prior, when I was spectating these guys in spectator mode, they were still moving around. Even like the fish, like these fish here, really haven't moved. They just kind of sit there. And as soon as they go out of spectator mode, let's see what happens. Yeah, you can see the fish start moving around, the dolphins start moving around. Yeah, they really changed something. Maybe try to make it so that if the players aren't so close to these fish and stuff, they won't be pathfinding or moving around that much. Probably trying to reduce lag with all the different types of entities that are now in the ocean. So when you feed the dolphins the fish, and then you look at the NBT tag, it will say that they have the got fish tag. So right in here, you can see got fish is 1, and this is because this dolphin currently can't find any treasure. So even though you fed him fish, he can't really take off to find the treasure. So it seems that if the dolphins despawn from the ones that live around these treasures, then once you come in and spawn in new dolphins naturally, they will no longer be able to find the treasure because they went ahead and despawned all the dolphins around here and had new ones spawn in, and this guy's unable to find the treasure. So this might be a bug. I found a treasure chest that's in an island, and I went ahead and searched the dolphins around here to see if they would recognize this treasure, and they don't. You can still see they added this weird stone on the sides of them, trying to hide them. But yeah, you can see you get the Heart of the Sea, which is in the yellow text, and then all the rest is in white text. So yeah, there's some pretty cool stuff. It kind of means it's like a rare thing to find. I also noticed that they changed the word for the mob, cod. So it used to be cod mob or mob cod or something like that. Now it's just cod, so you can easily summon it. Yeah, and in the eggs they also call it cod, but then they also got the underscore spawn eggs, which all the different spawn eggs have now. So they change the color of the text with other items in the game as well. So like the rare kind of items that you can find are like the yellow text. You got like the skulls. Let's go down to miscellaneous tab. Conduit is blue as well as beacons. Those are kind of like your effect things, give off the different types of effects. Let's go find some more of the yellow stuff, which is the rare ones. Also enchanting, you see it's a yellow text as well. Nether star, all this kind of stuff that you perceive as being somewhat like rare in the game. I believe Dragon's Breath is also in here. Yes, you see Dragon's Breath is yellow as well. Now they also got the green text, which they put on for the tools. You can see the different attack speeds as well as attack damages. And they also did this for the weapons as well. Go to weapons, you can see all that. And then for like blocks that give special abilities, such as like command blocks, structure blocks, they gave them pink text. It's pretty easy to see them. For some reason, dragon eggs are also here. Maybe this is all stuff that you have to use a give command to get this item. Because like you can't get dragon eggs and you can't get this stuff inside of the normal creative menu. Also, tools that are enchanted, such as this fishing rod, you can see it has the light blue text at the top. And here's just a normal fishing rod. You would think something like the barrier block would also have a changed in color of text, but maybe they'll fix that. They fixed the redstone that are inside these jungle pyramids. It wasn't properly pointing into these redstone components. Something cool to notice about these structures is that you cannot actually look into even the dispensers until they're opened by a player because they have loot that needs to be generated. So you can open it up and see what it gets generated. And there's also the tripwire that's supposed to be shooting out these dispensers. And then once you, of course, power them with redstone, then you can actually look at them even with spectator mode and see what we got for loot in here. Ooh, some diamonds. It changes so that now the spawn eggs will summon the mobs a little bit lower than normal. You can see he kind of into the water when you summon him. Same goes for like Endermite. He's partly into the water when we summon him. First, when they're on land, it will place them on top of the block. But if it's something like a fence, put a fence down. Before, when you click on this, it would place the mob at the top of this section here, and then you'd fall through. Now they have it so that it will place the mob on the top of its collision, which is half a meter taller. That way they won't fall through. Now there's still this in the game where you try to place like an endermite down inside this area. I'll place it on top, which is kind of annoying, but I guess it makes sense because not all mobs can fit in there. But I would like it so that some of these other weird circumstances you can actually get mobs to go inside of there. So it even works with like dispensers. It'll now put the mob on top of the fence gate and you won't have any problems about them being off-centered. I came across this really strange spot where all these dolphins have naturally generated. I think they all naturally generated from these underwater runes because I'm flying around in spectre mode, so they can't. Yeah, they're not spawn. They didn't spawn because of me. They're all a really tight bunch, and they came in and they all spread out. But all these guys spawned, and you can also see like the drowns that also are part of this. Like here's the drowns that naturally generate with this. So yeah, that's pretty strange. Might be a bug where too many dolphins are spawning in with maybe the structures. I guess they should have a tag if they're spawned in with a structure, right? Okay, so they have a tag of persistence required. So I'm guessing these guys all were generated from these underwater runes. Because typically, if you would just go out to the middle of nowhere and fly around, you wouldn't just see tons of fish and stuff. There'd just be really nothing here. But like here, you can see these dolphins all generate. So yeah, I'm guessing these dolphins generate with these structures, and then they have the ability to find the treasure because they came from this structure. Oddly enough, that means the dolphin isn't going to be very far from these structures when you give it food. So yeah, not too helpful. You could probably just look around and find them yourself. It's kind of cool. You can see there's a nice iceberg biome over here, and then there's this one solo iceberg right beside the jungle over here. Here's another cool area. You got icebergs right beside a mushroom island. They fixed a bug so that when ocean minings were upgraded from 1.12 to 1.13, they were not allowing the structure to be there, so the mobs wouldn't spawn, such as guardians. But now that is fixed, so you don't have to worry about losing your guardian farm. So these dolphins here are running low on air, and you can see they start taking damage, and they're going to die. Some of them are getting frantic, and they're not sure what to do. They're all trying to grab this item that's over here inside this house, but they're sitting underneath the water too long and running out of air, and some are dying, but some are actually pathfinding to the surface to get more air. If they would happen to go through this bubble column here, they could also replenish the air. They fixed it so mobs will now suffocate underneath of a double slab. This is something I discovered, and I thought it was a pretty nice feature, but they removed it from the game because in some cases it's actually nice to have a solid block which you can pass signals through without allowing the mobs underneath to get suffocated. They fix it so you can no longer bone mill water that is flowing inward. So yeah, if you bone mill underneath water, you can get the seagrass, but it no longer works if you got lower than a full source of water. Also, water is pretty messed up. If you guys haven't noticed, if you break blocks, you think the water would flow in there, but it doesn't. You have to like update it, and sometimes it doesn't update, but make a hole and update it, and it flows in. Then if you update that one, it's yeah, pretty weird. This also fixed the bug where you would place down seagrass inside of this flowing water. It would make water sources, and now you only can place them in water sources. So you don't have any chance of placing them over here in the flowing water. They said they also changed the hitboxes of some of the fish on land to make them a little bit better. Like I said, they're looking a lot better. Little by little, they keep changing this. About probably the third time they made tweaks to this, but like I say, they're really quite centered on the mob, especially like the salmon, how they got it going diagonal across it. Before, they were just a little bit not quite right. They also removed the ability for dolphins to be permanently in the world after playing with the item, and this is something I discovered where if you had a dolphin play with the item, then he would change his tag. So I just looked at his tag and it says persistence required 0. If we look at it again after playing with the item, it still says persistence required 0. So now the dolphin plays with the item, he will be able to despawn. So I want to talk about some bug fixes that they did with the 20B snapshot as well as 20C. So one of the big ones was you can no longer put the conduits on any block. They have to be placed inside of a block that already has water in it. So if you see my Twitter thing, it was possible to actually take the conduit and take it over into another dimension and make water on the other side. So this is a way to avoid that. Now they also fixed it so that the conduit, when it's broken, does have a texture. Prior to that, it didn't have a texture and it would come up as like the default no texture. It was possible to put ladders on the side of the conduit, similar to what I showed with the turtle eggs, but they have fixed this as well as they did the turtle eggs. Coral fans, as well as coral plants, no longer have a full-size box for a hitbox. The water in the cauldrons are no longer that weird milky tint. They now got a nice blue color. When they introduced the Turtle Master potions, they also changed the slowness potion so that when you make a slowness potion stronger, it'll turn into from a slowness to a slowness 4. And it was slowness 5, but now they got down to slowness 4. They fixed it so the conduit power will now get animated when there is enough blocks around it. They also changed it so now it works with other types of blocks such as the dark prismarine, which doesn't work before, and it pretty much works with all the different types of blocks that you find inside of the ocean monument. So you can see I can swap out these blocks and it still works. Yeah, water updating is still a bit strange. I don't know why, but you'd think it just, have no problem filling in here, but it does. It looks like the ship generations are still producing block types that you normally can't get in the game, such as this fence here. Just trying to connect to this fence over here, and not doing a very good job at it. There you have it, guys. A lot of bug fixes with the 21A snapshot. So if you guys found this interesting, show me with a like and share this with others. If you'd like to see more snapshot reviews as other things that I discovered with the 1.13 release, go ahead and subscribe and hit that bell button to get notifications. And if there's anything else you guys want me to discuss in these videos, go ahead and tell me down in the comments. Bye-bye.